through the code day and night, crafting dreams from bits and bytes. Microsoft Magic, it's out of sight. Got a Copilot, watch it take flight. Guiding through the code day and night, crafting dreams from bits and bytes. Microsoft Magic, it's out of sight. Got a Copilot, watch it take flight. Guiding through the code day and night, crafting dreams from bits and bytes. Microsoft Magic. Teamwork cowbell, shall we ring it out loud? Teamwork cowbell, making all the proud.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? Ricardo Wilkins here with another Cap for Copilot adoption practices session. Glad to see you. Figured I'd let you join me while I'm on the beach, getting some sun and whatnot. Actually, what had happened was I was just tired of seeing snow outside my window, and so I just decided I'd try to change up scenery. So anyway, hopefully wherever you're joining from looks something like that. But yeah, good to see you again joining us. I think this is session number 12 in this series. The series previous episodes you can find right there at the aka.ms/cap4copilot on the website, teamworkcowbell.blog, all that good stuff. So if you're here and wondering what you have joined, we just come here to geek out on Copilot and AI in general, talk about best practices, collaboration, all of that. And if you're joining on LinkedIn or YouTube and you want to make a comment, ask a question, use the chat, let me know where you're from, say hi, all that good stuff. I will try to monitor chat as well. All right, good stuff. So, if you are a Copilot enthusiast, then you were likely paying attention yesterday as many things were announced. Specifically, in fact, let me put up my demo environment here. Specifically, this concept or idea of Copilot chat. Where am I? That's not where I wanted to go. So this is the main blog where this information was posted by Jared Spataro. And among other things, it talks about this idea of Copilot chat. So it's a new naming convention. You even before this week, you probably saw news about names being changed, icons changing, things like that. There were a lot of changes in this effort to kind of lay out these different feature sets in a nice cohesive way. So I thought I would talk about that a little today. And what that also gives me a chance to talk about, which if you joined us a few weeks back, we wanted to talk about SharePoint agents. There was a technical glitch that day. We didn't get to finish that out. So this lets me talk about that as little too, and then I can talk about it in depth on another session as well. But I did figure, since we're having the session today, this announcement was yesterday, I figured it was timely. I figured anybody that's big on Copilot this week is probably thinking about this new announcement. So I thought I'd spend some time to talk about it. If you've got some questions about it, want to put it in chat, feel free to do so. This URL, if you're looking for it, I have a good way to share it with you through this. You can maybe see it there, but essentially it's the M365 blog. Certainly just searching for Microsoft Copilot chat probably will bring this right up. So, so what is it? So in fact, before I go into this, because this table here is probably is one of the best ways of kind of understanding the difference, especially if you are already familiar with Copilot, and specifically the paid M365 Copilot. If you're already using that, already own that, I don't think this will be too hard to absorb. But I thought I'd start from scratch a little bit. And I'm gonna bring up my trusty whiteboard here. I got my little Surface Pen. I'm gonna do a little diagramming for you on the fly. So kind of let's kind of start from the beginning here. So, we've got Microsoft Copilot. And so let's call that is the free Copilot that has been around for a while. Anybody with internet and a device can use that, right? It's AI chat, all that good stuff, right? That's the basic, level of entry. And then in a bigger sense, so that's one end of the spectrum. The far other end of the spectrum would be M365 Copilot. That is the paid, full premium feature set. Okay, and we'll dive into what that means. But I just want to make make a couple of differentiators here. Again, this one is free, and this one is not. All right. Typically, this is the $30 a month deal. All right. So what's important to differentiate here is, I'm going to do it this way. This guy, this free one, is grounded in the web, meaning what does it use for its answers? It uses the web to answer the questions that you give it. This one, and why it's a premium experience, is that in addition to being grounded in the web, that's why I try to do the square across all of it, it is also work grounded. That means in addition to accessing the web to answer questions, it's also able to access your work stuff, your email files, SharePoint files, all of that. It knows about your colleagues, in the directory, all of those things. It's also your personal assistant. So personal assistant, given that it knows about you, you can ask it, I can ask it Ricardo specific questions, not just generic work related questions, but Ricardo specific things about my inbox and so forth and so on. So that's two differentiators, right? Free is web-based. It was either, you're not paying for it, you're getting web-based Copilots, or you're paying the premium, you're getting work-grounded, work-based Copilot. What it got introduced, I'll do it like this, is M365 Copilot Chat, which was just sort of a name change in one sense, but is also a way to kind of show the difference here between this guy and this guy. This one doesn't necessarily need a login or anything. This one is you logging in with your credentials, and you're getting a little more enhanced experience. You're getting some enterprise data protection, which I think we've talked about earlier in this series, and maybe I'll make a note of that. EDP plus, what was really the heart of the announcement is we're now letting this part of Copilot also take advantage of agents on a pay-as-you-go basis. So agents. Now, all of these things are, if you're in the paid tier, you're getting all of these things. Like paid tier, it's going to get everything. But and I'll kind of make a little, maybe I should do a little thing there. But again, this M365 Copilot chat still web grounded, not work grounded, except for if you do bring in agents on a pay-as-you-go basis. Those agents can access work things like SharePoint document libraries. Okay. So if you're wondering about all the name changes, to me, I've seen a lot of folks, talk about, another name change and kind of make it sound convoluted. To me, it's pretty simple, straightforward. It's really the one new name is the Copilot chat, to just differentiate a slightly new experience and an addition of some enhanced features of agents being incorporated there. Before, if you wanted to do agents in any way, it was all a part of that premium piece. Now there's a path towards doing that with the M365 Copilot chat. Okay. So for a really quick summary of kind of those premium things, I mean, we're talking about being work grounded. We're talking about it as your personal assistant. We're talking about using it with apps, like Excel, Word, Outlook. It has an Outlook and Word and Excel specific Copilot. We're talking about Copilot Studio, basically customizations. We're talking all of the bells and whistles at this stage. We don't have all of those bells and whistles at this Copilot chat stage, but we do now have the ability to do agents. So if I were to kind of do a line from this one, I would do a pay as you go. And that, how do you set that up and all that stuff is a whole other discussion. But this is the gist of the announcements, in a nutshell. So if visuals, works well for you, hopefully this one is helpful. I gotta check one thing here on another screen and do this and that. All right, good stuff. And I'll make a note here, this is the one, announced this week. My writing is the worst, but anyway, that one's announced this week. Login, which ones need a login is this guy and this guy, but not this guy. Okay. Once you log in, then you've basically bumped up to the Copilot chat piece. Okay. Also, we're going to make a little note here. This is work files here, and potentially sort of kind of work files with those agents. They can access files in SharePoint, things like that. Okay. You can still do Copilot chat without necessarily doing agents, but that is the new, added potential feature there. Okay. So that's a very messy, certainly that looks messy if you just looked at it, if you just joined just now. Hopefully it's not as bad if you joined from the beginning and kind of saw me go through that, from first step 1 and on. All right. So that's my messy, unofficial. And in fact, let me write that. This is my unofficial explanation of all those things. All right. So I thought that'd be helpful. Again, explained all in here, and also explained through this chart. So again, if you, instead of if you, instead of scribbly drawings, you like charts, then this is what you'll love. Showing the difference between that M365 Copilot chat we described versus full M365 Copilot. You can see from a chat perspective, from all those things we expect from AI chat tools, those things are the same, except that one is web grounded, one's work grounded. And then when it comes to agents, this is the big deal of the announcement, whereas previously these blue dots would not have been there. They're now there. So there is some incorporation of agents, and on a pay-as-you-go basis, the ability to, get some work data out of that as well. Okay. And then from a personal assistant perspective, the premium Copilot is still the king there. So this new announcement is, if you're not licensed for M365 Copilot, you're still not getting the personal assistant aspects of it. Basically, having those Copilots across all of your collaboration apps, having it reason over your personal work information, things like that. Okay, and that's still the premium. And then from a if you're in IT, then you're asking, well, what about the controls and those kind of things? And so additional controls for M365 Copilot Chat and all the controls you would expect from the premium perspective. And this is the part that's kind of still rolling out, still more to come there. So great chart, to see it in one glance. As you go down through this, there is a video that Jarrett does. And I pause it here just because, again, this little visual here, if I can make it bigger. Yep, is a nice explanation again of that M365 Copilot chat. It's chat that we've all been using this whole time, plus the possibility of agents, plus additional controls. Okay, so if you're into visuals, that's a nice one page visual there explaining that. So in general, it's a good thing. I mean, organizations are all trying to figure out, the best way to bring AI to their users. This provides flexibility there, and also helps to surface. I think many folks, in fact, folks that may be watching this might not have been aware of, for instance, the free Copilot, the consumer, whether it's a consumer version or whatnot. And know that that's an option for you. Again, pales in comparison feature wise to the paid version, but there is a free version. This helps surface that. The other subtle thing here, if you have been used to, let's say, going to Portal, if you're a M365 subscriber, you tend to go to office.com or maybe portal.office.com to log into your system and to your apps and things. This brings that Copilot experience a little more front and center to that portal as well. So you can't miss it, right? And so I think that's part of it as well. Now, the other question here that you're probably asking is, okay, so then what you say agents are now part of Copilot Chat. Well, you never really told me what an agent is. And you're right, because I had that glitch on the other episode. But let's talk about what an agent is. So, agents are basically like, bots that you can talk to in the context of what we're talking about here, bots related to let's say a collection of files. And I'll show you an example in my environment. This is a document library of files, let's say for a legal person, right? There's some contracts and things in here. And without an agent, how do I really get information out of this? Obviously, I can open each document and read it. I could do searches maybe to find things. But for instance, as an example, these documents, I know that in these documents, there are some information about breach of contract. And if I wanted to find that information, I'm going to have to do a good search and probably use the word breach or use the word, I don't know, some kind of legally word to find it. What I can't really do with search, like if it's just me, I'm not a lawyer, I'm going to say, is there anything in here about paying back money? All right. Nobody probably puts the phrase paying back money, pay back some money in their legal documents. right? So if I ask for, SharePoint to find that concept in these documents, it's not, right? There's no payback. I don't even know if money is in there. Yeah, money. Is money in there at all? Yeah, there's not even mention of the word money because, legal folks, they use different words for those kind of things, right? So I didn't find anything with the search that we have been using for some decades, right? But on this, I have the ability, as you can see here, to create an agent. In fact, let me make this a little bigger for you, if that helps. Create an agent. Oops, it's right there. And in fact, I've already created one. If I use my Copilot button here, you can see that there is an agent actually for the whole site, Contoso, as well as if I do the drop down, I made a legal agent, uh, right? And what that lets me do is basically now ask chatbot or AI questions about what's going on in this document. So for instance, one of the pre-created questions of this legal agent is to create an FAQ based on the documents there. I can do that. It basically pre-fills in that request into the agent, into the chat. And again, I'm doing this all right within SharePoint, right at the library that I'm looking at, and that's what it's done. It's gone ahead. It's read the documents that are sitting there, and is creating an FAQ about the different concepts going on in that document automatically. So if I was trying to get a good feel for, obviously this is 3 documents, could have been 30, right? If I'm trying to get a feel for what's in this library, that might be a good way to do it. Give me an FAQ of what's in here, right? And it would do that. Obviously, there's no way good old fashioned search was going to give me that. But back to that question of that I asked, my non-legal self, I ask it, what about paying back money? So we got natural language here. Is there anything in here about having to pay back money? I'll just leave it at that. I don't know if that'll work. So we're going to ask that very, very natural language question, right? I know it didn't get that because I don't. That's not really a great way to ask that. Let me see here. I had a nope. I didn't want that. There was a way that I asked this morning actually. Is there anything in the documents regarding having to pay back money for not doing what was promised, right? Because what we're really talking about is breach of contract. Let me ask it that way. I think that might work. And so that one, it understood that better. So it says, yes, the NDA has a section about financial penalty, right? Again, I didn't use any keywords like breach, agreement, financial or penalty, or any of those words that are typical legal words. I used, a poorly put together natural language sentence to get that info. Okay. So that's kind of what was cool about agents. That's one example, right? Because obviously if I had put penalty in the searching for a keyword, then I get those documents, right? So hopefully that kind of shows the power of that agent there, but then also the ability to share this, right? So you can, as you can see, I had a conversation with Gene here and actually shared that agent with him, right? And so within our chat, so he does have access to that document library, and within our chat, he was able to ask questions of that. We could both ask questions of the agent and get those answers right here within our Teams chat. So the ability to share these agents in different places, different channels, is the other piece too. I mean, if I were to switch over to Gene's chat here, I forget where that was in Teams. Yep. Chatting with me here, and kind of see his experience on his side. So that's like his query there, right? So again, I was able to share it with Gene. Gene was able to use it in the context of the chat. And so then we could have a conversation about this repository of documents and be able to use an agent to chat to get further insights about it all in real time. Okay. So that's kind of the power of that there. So that's a really short version. I mean, we didn't get into how do you create these and all those things. It's very easy to create them. And as we said, we're getting to a point where they'll be natively there, whether you use them or not. So there's other aspects to it, but that is the short version of, what an agent is and what the power of it could be. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just what I could, in 5 minutes, essentially explain. So hopefully that helped. All right. So real quick rundown on agents. Also, real quick, plain English, unofficial rundown of the announcements from yesterday. Use the blog to get more. And, again, searching on that, you'll find that blog plus all of the other MVPs and folks out there that are giving their take on it too. So there's plenty of information already. It's only been like 24 hours. There's plenty of information if you want to get more info on that. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. A little explanation of new Copilot chat and 100 level primer of, in this case, SharePoint agents specifically, but agents in general. So I hope that helps. If you are licensed for M365 Copilot, go give some of this a try right now. And then, of course, we'll be talking about it more in future sessions. All right. So hope that was helpful. Hit me up in the chat or anything if you've got any more questions. And otherwise, we will catch you here, same bat time, same bat channel next week. All right. Take care.